Hi everyone, my name is Gloria Yen and I am the New American Program Coordinator over at the University YMCA campus. And we're so excited to bring the Citizenship Information Session to you today in collaboration with your Welcome CU and with Research Art. So just a brief overview of what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about two welcoming initiatives that are happening in Champaign County. There's lots of great activity happening, but we're just highlighting two of those things today. One of them is the New American Welcome Center, which Laura alluded to, and the other is your Welcome CU. Next, we'll cover the naturalization process, the eligibility requirements of citizenship, as well as just kind of things to expect and the benefits of citizenship. Finally, we'll close with two fantastic testimonials from Maria Yadomine, as well as Professor Indi Gupta, who have been through the citizenship process themselves. So I'm very excited to have you learn and hear about their stories. So a little bit about the New American Welcome Center. The New American Welcome Center launched in April of this year at the University YMCA, and the purpose of the Welcome Center is twofold. First is to prepare communities like Champaign County to be more welcoming and inclusive, and secondly is to help immigrants and newcomers in the area fully integrate into American society. So we've identified 5 pathways of immigrant integration, and these 5 pathways are language and education, health and well-being, citizenship and civic engagement, economic integration and employment, as well as finally community bridge building. And the piece that we're bringing you today is part of our efforts to engage immigrants and allies in the work of citizenship and civic engagement. So one of our primary goals at the New American Welcome Center is to really lift up and amplify the work of organizations around Champaign County. So we really like to think of ourselves as kind of like a referrals hub, so people can come to us with questions. I need help with a place to drop off my children during the middle of the day. If there's a family emergency, we can direct them to the crisis nursery. I need help in court. I need an interpreter. We can help them get access to a community advocate, things of that nature. We also house several organizations within the New American Welcome Center at the physical location of the YMCA on campus. Those include La Linea, which is a community referral resource helpline. It's a multilingual helpline that anybody can call into about any questions that they have. So we can refer them to legal resources, medical resources, answer their questions about how to navigate transportation in the area, how to practice their English, things of that nature. We also were recently joined by the Three Spinners, which is a new organization serving refugees in the area. They recently opened their community resource center inside of the Y that's open from 11 to 2, Monday through Friday during the summer. And this is a fantastic free store that offers clothing, furniture, other household goods for people who are in need, free of charge. And in addition to that, they also offer one-on-one conversation partnerships, as well as training in terms of if you need help building your resume or being mock interviewed before you have an actual interview. They are more than happy to help walk you through that. Finally, the New Americans Initiative is also part of the Welcome Center, and it's a large part of why we're able to be here today. The New Americans Initiative is led by the Illinois Coalition of Immigrant and Refugee Rights, which is based up in the Chicago area, and they fund outreach initiatives like this one to help us reach out to legal permanent residents in the area, as well as youth who are eligible to apply for DACA. Yes, so there's a lot of energy surrounding the New American Welcome Center at the moment, and whether you are looking for services or to volunteer, I'd love to help you get plugged in. So after the presentation, feel free to connect with me. I'm going to hand it over now to Craig with your welcome.
Thank you, and welcome. I'm representative of the community at large. I'm the director of the Champaign County Economic Development Corporation. And our simple message, or our brief description of what we do, is we help grow the local economy. And in doing that, we work in the workforce, we work with businesses, we grow business, keep jobs here, and many other things. But another piece of that is to work on the image of this place and the information that we have available, and a big piece of that is welcoming everyone to our community. This is a very special place in its international composition, in its existence of the University of Illinois, and it is a fantastic community. So one of the things we're constantly doing is putting that message out there so people can find the resources or get the message that we're trying to communicate about this place. So I'm going to talk just for a couple minutes about what we do with the EDC and this "You're Welcome to See You" message, and then we'll get on to the other testimonials and things today that are actually the really important part of it, that I want you all to know that we're a resource. And other people, Laura Blyle's sitting here, the University Research, Laura Blyle's right here. Put it closer to my mouth. Is that better? Yeah. Thank you. Anything else?
Keep going.
Okay, and Laura helped put this campaign together with people in our office, and was part of the core team. So we'll walk through this together, and she can chime in when I forget some component, but this will be real quick. We put this together to talk about this place as a hub of innovation, attracting talent here, driving economic development, and bragging essentially about our micro-urban community. This is just a picture of the message board that we put together when we were actually trying to establish this "You're Welcome to See You" message. And it's interesting in the thinking that went into this, like, what is this place and who are the people that make it what it is. There's a logo. This image of the smiley face with the glasses on it now has become our recognized brand, or our logo that goes along with "You're Welcome to See You." There's a website. There's a lot of social media activity which you can link into and keep up on what's going on. We have tons of videos of this site, so I recommend you go to yourwelcome.cu.com and look at the site and look at what's on it. The videos are fantastic. They tell the story of Champaign-Urbana and the people that are here, and lots of other things, brochures, name cards, paid media, and other efforts we make to promote this place, and also at the same time give the people who live here a sense of where things are and what's going on in the community. We put out a bunch of these memes. Here's an example. The messages: you can live the quality of life here without the cost of California. We have, this was supposed to have a picture on a bus ads. Some people driving around know where to call, where to look for community information, and then we put some of the meme messages on there as well. It's a great way to advertise. Sit behind buses and traffic. As I said, we do social media. We're engaged with the University of Illinois on the other campuses. We engage with the national publications. We have a ton of press about this place that's out there and available to look at about what's going on. Outlets like Smile Politely, Champaign Moms that Laura manages, really keeps people in the community plugged in, and we've got some Forbes stories on there about what the place is. And again, it's worth exploring. There's a video on there that's kind of edgy that tells the story of Champaign-Urbana. Again, going to the website will make that work really well. And with that, telling you about it, we've put out some of these materials here that you can pick up and take with you. Spend a little time with the website, and Laura may want to make some more comments about it.
I'll just add that this is a community resource, but for those of you who may want to tell people why you love this place and why you're here, it also helps communicate that. Many people can't really verbalize that, but it kind of coalesces in this campaign. So we want it to be a point of pride, and we want this community we want people who are in this community to feel prideful. But really, back to the point of this event, is about being welcoming. And I think the You're Welcome campaign was sort of a double entendre. So we were playing off of, well, you're welcome for all this amazing innovation that's come out of this place, but you're welcome to be here. And so that's really why we created this campaign, because we wanted to show people that this is a place that welcomes new ideas, new people, and it's a great place where people can plug in very easily to what's happening here and to basically lots of different opportunities and resources. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Gloria, and we hope that you guys will plug into You're Welcome CU and feel the same way about it that we do.
All right, so for this portion of the information session, you're going to get information on citizenship. So what are some of the benefits of citizenship? Why apply? First, you have the right to vote. Only U.S. citizens can vote in federal elections, and most states also restrict the right to vote in most elections to U.S. citizens as well. You're also able to potentially bring family members to the United States. Citizens generally get priority when petitioning to bring family members over permanently, and they can also petition for more family members than legal permanent residents can petition for. So for example, a U.S. citizen can also petition for their parents, their siblings, and married children to come. Additionally, you can obtain citizenship for children who are born abroad. In most cases, children who are born abroad to at least one U.S. citizen parent is also a U.S. citizen. You will also have a U.S. passport. This allows you to travel outside of the U.S. for long periods of time. And in addition, it avails you of U.S. government services when you're abroad if necessary. Finally, you have access to federal job opportunities and also the opportunity to run for public office. Both of those items are primarily restricted to U.S. citizens, and it's an opportunity for you to show your citizenship. So what are the requirements of naturalization? So these are just the general requirements. The actual things that you need to fulfill can vary on an individual basis, but in general, you need to be at least 18 years old, you need to be a permanent resident for at least 5 years. That means you have a green card for at least 5 years. You need to demonstrate continuous permanent residence in the U.S. for at least 5 years, so you can't leave for more than 6 months at a time. And you also need to show that you have been physically present in the United States for at least 30 months, so that's half of that 5-year period. So the asterisks are for these, the permanent residency changes if you are married to a U.S. citizen. So in that case, you need to be a permanent resident for at least 3 years, demonstrate continuous permanent residence for at least 3 years, and show physical presence for at least 18 months, so half of that 3-year duration. Additionally, you need to show that you have lived for at least 3 months in the state or USCIS district where you apply. USCIS is the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. You also need to be able to read, write, and speak basic English, have a basic understanding of civics, so U.S. government and history, be a person of good moral character, and demonstrate an attachment to the principles and ideals of the U.S. Constitution. So the USCIS, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, has kind of identified 10 general steps of naturalization. So first, you need to determine if by chance you are already a U.S. citizen. You are already a U.S. citizen. So this may come as a result of birthright. You were born here in the States, or by derivative, you were born to a parent who, at least one parent, who is a U.S. citizen. Secondly, you need to determine your eligibility to become a U.S. citizen. So that was covered in the 2 previous slides. Third, prepare your Form N-400, your application for naturalization. And to do this, you need to complete the actual application and also prepare any corresponding documents that may be necessary. 4, submit your Form N-400, and currently the filing fee for the N-400 is $640. In addition to that, you will be assessed an $85 biometrics fee, which is basically for the FBI to conduct a background check on you by fingerprinting you and taking your photograph. So those two together add up to $725, and that is a pretty hefty amount for the application. So USCIS also offers fee waivers as well as a reduced fee request that you can file with your application. 5, if the USCIS accepts your application, they will send you a notice for a biometrics appointment, which I talked about earlier. You will be fingerprinted and photographed, and they'll just do a background check on you. 6, if you're invited in for an interview, you can expect to be tested on your English and civics knowledge. So a USCIS officer will sit down with you one-on-one to talk about your application and your background. And in doing so, they'll also evaluate your English speaking ability. They will also test your reading and writing ability and administer a civics test. And the civics test is based on a standard set of 100 questions, 10 of which will be selected during your interview, 6 of which you need to get correct. And so there's actually additional materials that I brought with me about the naturalization process, as well as study guides for the tests that are located in the back, so feel free to pick one up on your way out. Finally, you receive a decision from USCIS on your application for naturalization. If you are accepted, you will receive a notice to take the oath of allegiance. You'll take your oath of allegiance in a citizenship ceremony, and finally you'll work towards just more fully understanding your rights and responsibilities as a U.S. citizen. So for those of you who are here today, I know that you're probably in various stages. You may be here on a student visa, you may be here on an employee-based visa, you may have been a legal permanent resident for 4 years, 7 years. Everyone's at a different stage. So what are some of the next steps that are available for you to take? First, you can make an appointment with the New American Welcome Center at the Y. We're happy to help you prepare to apply. So I have business cards in the back, and again, you can come up to me after the session to talk about how you can get that going. Another option is to attend the USCIS Immigrant Conference and Benefits Fair. This is being put on in collaboration with the New American Welcome Center, USCIS, the Chamber, people who are in various stages of exploration. If you want the answer to questions like, how do I get my green card? If you want additional information about what the naturalization process looks like, if you want to see a mock interview, what can I expect? You should show up to the session. We'll also have a panel of local experts that will be there to answer any questions that you have. The session is from 10 to 2 on Saturday, September 16th, and you can kind of drop in and stay as long as you like. Also, in conjunction with the Immigration Project, which is a local legal nonprofit located out of Bloomington, but they also have an office here in Champaign, we will be holding 2 citizenship application workshops this fall. The first will happen in Springfield on Saturday, September 29th. We're also in the process of scheduling another one to be in Champaign, and that'll likely be sometime in October or early November. So please keep your eyes peeled for more information on that. I'm actually going to pass out a form. I know most of you swiped in when you entered the session, but this form is twofold purpose. First, it allows us to track kind of who's here in terms of the outreach that we were able to do to legal permanent residents. It gives us kind of legitimacy to continue doing outreach in sessions like this. Secondly, you can sign up for more information, so I can email you all of our upcoming events on citizenship, and you can also check off the box if you would just like to volunteer in general for the New American Welcome Center. So please pass it around. Thank you. There is a flyer on all of the circle tables for a Freedom Parade. If any of you are around on Tuesday, July 4th, the Immigration Forum, which is a local advocacy group, will be marching in solidarity with local immigrants. So the parade will kick off at 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. on July 4th.
Yes, part of the Champaign Freedom Parade, they're going to be meeting on First and Kirby around the Assembly Hall.
Okay, so First and Kirby around Assembly Hall.
Yeah, it's not far from here. We're in a
So the flyers will give you directions on how to sign up. You can also just show up and participate. There's a sign making party at the University YMCA this Saturday from 2 to 4. So if you want to just kind of see who else is coming, get your friends excited, make a sign, we encourage you to come out and join us on Tuesday. I think it's a great opportunity to see, local supporters, local welcomers, and just participate in a spirit of neighborliness. Finally, I just want to make a note to avoid scams. I know everyone knows that you should be wary when you're applying for citizenship, but just be careful. If you're seeking legal advice, make sure that it's coming from an attorney or someone who is accredited by the Board of Immigration Appeals, the Department of Justice. So just make sure that you are, vetting things out. And if you're ever unsure of anything, feel free to contact us. You can also reach out directly to USCIS to report anything that seems kind of sketchy to you. And the USCIS's website, you can just Google USCIS and it will pop up. So I alluded to this earlier. I'm very excited to bring to you today 2 incredible stories of citizenship. And I'd like to invite up Maria Yadomine. She is an MBA intern here at Research Park, and she is going to tell you a little bit about her journey to citizenship.
Hello everyone. Hello friends. Thank you. That's probably helpful for you. So I work here at the university in the Office of Technology Management, and I'm also an MBA student. Actually, I used to work also in Amarin building, but that's my past life. So I'm glad to be back in Research Park, and I would like to tell a little bit about my path to citizenship. So I'm Polish. I come from Poland. I met my husband in Sweden, and we lived there and worked there for a really long time, it seemed, around 4 years. But he got a job at the University of Illinois, and he decided to take it. He is a U.S. citizen, a naturalized U.S. citizen. So he moved to the U.S., and I stayed in Sweden for another year. I worked there, and I was finishing my degree. In the meantime, in the 1 year, within the time of the 1 year, I was basically applying for my green card to come here to join him, to be able to work and live in the U.S. So I would say that the citizenship, the process of getting or becoming a U.S. citizen was not as complicated or as long as the process of getting my green card. And I think that, so maybe, okay, quick survey. How many green card holders do we have here? Okay, if you, student visas, work visas. Okay, great. So that's definitely the first step to, to become a permanent resident, and it takes time. So for me, I don't know how much, my advice, how helpful it will be for you, because I was married to a U.S. citizen, so the path is a little bit easier. Although after, the process was still really long, so when I got my green card after maybe 9-10 months after applying, so it's a little bit longer than they tell you. So there was obviously a bunch of documentation. We were proving our marriage. I needed to take medical exam, kind of proof that I have all the vaccinations that are necessary, that kind of list all the infectious diseases and stuff like this. So when I came here and I got my green card, then I had 3 years of being a permanent resident to become a citizen. And so there were a couple of things I haven't really thought about before, just kind of in the meantime, before I applied for U.S. citizenship, that I actually should have think about before. So maybe that's useful for you. So first of all, I travel a lot, and in the citizenship application, you need to list basically every single time you left the country, for how long, to meet specific dates, and it's for like the past 5 years. So for me, it was tens of trips, and it was really hard to just kind of remember. So I remember I was in those countries at some point, but I was trying to find like old boarding passes, and so it was just a nightmare. So you remember if you think about applying for citizenship at some point, just like keep a file of all your trips is just very useful. It's the same with addresses. Within the past 5 years, I lived in Sweden, Poland, Italy, and in the US. And again, with address it's a little bit easier, but still I had a bunch of them, so it's good to keep track of those things. So after I applied, okay, another piece of advice. So some of you may have more complicated cases, and this means that probably it's a good idea to contact an immigration attorney, but in my particular case it was relatively easy, so I decided to do it on my own. And I think if you really read all the instructions and follow them, yes, you really need to follow all of them. If they say something, they really mean it, and they will not allow you to go around it. So if you read all the instructions and just fill out the forms and kind of provide all the documentation that they want, you should be fine without an attorney. But again, maybe your case is more complicated, so that would be up to you. So I applied, and basically from the application date to me taking the oath of allegiance, it took probably around 9 months or maybe a little bit less. And so in the meantime, after the application, around 2-3 weeks after the application, I went to USCIS, one of those office in Indianapolis. They took my photo, they took the fingerprints. They basically take your fingerprints every single time you do anything with them, so kind of just be prepared for that. And then it took them several months to schedule an interview with me. So, interview is really easy. I'm not sure if I should be telling you this, but just, I'm sure like all of you pass the English test immediately, because they just ask you to read one sentence, to say one sentence. It's really easy. It's basically impossible to fail. You have to study a little bit for the other test. You need to know a little bit about US history, but then you will get a booklet, and again, it's just a number of questions, and if you just read them, it's common sense. I'm pretty sure that most of you will pass it very easily. So I think that the interview was not particularly difficult, but again, your particular case may be a little bit more complicated, so the immigration officer may want to know a little bit more about your case, and again, so it will vary. But so after that, it took them, unfortunately, over 2 months to invite me for my oath of allegiance, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to vote the past election. So I got my citizenship in November last year. I was very excited. It was in Urbana, in the courthouse, and we had a bunch of people from many different countries, probably 28 different countries. It was really exciting. We got cookies and drinks afterwards. It was really good. So what I wanted to tell you, so there were a couple of things in the presentation that kind of got my attention. So the first is, yes, if you're a US citizen, you can help your family members to come to the US to be permanent residents, but practically it's just easy for your spouse and your children. So it takes a really long time if you want to bring your parents or your siblings to the US or help them get their green card. So my father-in-law applied for his sister good 15 years ago, and she got it just maybe a couple of years ago. So it takes minimum 10 years. So if you think this is something, I want to bring my parents here, it's not going to happen that soon. Yeah, so another thing is, it's a little bit about getting a green card for spouses. I know that you've seen a lot of movies. The proposal, Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds, are very convincing, but the movies have nothing to do with reality. I didn't even have an interview with the immigration officer. They really don't care about your pictures. all they care about is documentation. So, did you file taxes with your spouse? Do you have a joint credit card, bank account? Do you live together? Do you have a mortgage together? So basically money is what counts. It's really, so it's just, it has nothing to do with what they are showing in the movies. So that was a side note. So I don't know if you have any questions. If not, then I guess we can invite the next person.
Thank you, everybody. I just wanted to take the chance, since Maria mentioned attorneys. We do have two attorneys actually in the audience. So Roa Alhiti, who practices and has helped many clients with some of these issues and has a concentration in immigration law, is here. So we wanted to have some people here who knew a little bit. I mean, we have lots of knowledgeable people here, but they're on the front lines. And then Alan Singleton, who many of you know in the Research Park, is one of our entrepreneurs and residents who helps our companies and our clients with various different issues regarding law, and immigration is one that comes up routinely, especially regarding entrepreneurship. So just wanted to point out those two folks who are in the audience, and if there are relevant questions, I know that Roa is happy to answer, and I'm sure Alan will pipe in as he can as well. So I think we wanted to invite our next speaker, and I didn't want to mess up your name. It wasn't really my job to introduce you, but anyway, welcome.
Hi everyone. I'm going to use some notes from my phone. Hi everyone, I'm Indy Gupta, and I'm a associate professor of computer science in the computer science department here at the university. I've been here since 2003, so 14 years. I saw the show of hands with many of you being visa holders, green card holders. So I try to orient what I say towards not just the citizenship process, but also the green card process, a little bit towards the visa process as well, because it's a very long span that we have to go through until we become citizens. So a little bit of history. First, I came to the US first in 1998. Almost 20 years ago to do my PhD. I was at Cornell University for 5 years, and then once I finished my PhD there, I came here to the UFI to become a faculty member in 2003. So for my first 5 years, 98 to 2003, I was on the F1 visa, which some of you are, I'm sure. And then when I came here in 2003, I moved over to the H1B visa. And then after that, I was on the H1B visa for quite a while, longer than most of you maybe. Eventually I got my green card in 2010, which is 7 years of being on the H1B visa. I'll have a little more to say about that later. Then 2010, and then after 5 years I applied for my citizenship in 2015, and I got my citizenship last year. It sounds like Maria and I were in the same oath session. I was also sworn in last November too, yeah, right over here at the courthouse. So that's, in a nutshell, that's the timeline of my story. Gloria asked me to say a little bit about what attracted me towards this country. I remember the first day that I came to the US in August 1998. I was walking from my apartment to the computer science building in Ithaca in Cornell. And some random person walking by said hi to me. I was like, why is this person saying hi to me? What is the reason for this? But it was pretty random, and it was not the first time and not the only time. It was pretty natural, pretty normal for folks in Ithaca, also a college town just like here, to be very friendly and very open. And I think that really attracted me towards the people in general. And I felt that friendliness from this country and from the people here for the 2 decades that I've been here. In the election of 2000, some of you may be old enough to remember the Bush versus Gore election. I didn't know much about US politics, but I started following the television news a lot during the recount of the election in 2000, and that's when I became a political junkie. So I follow the news a lot, though not that much lately. It's been mostly bad news lately. But yeah, I'm a pretty avid follower of US politics. So when it came time to read the 100 questions for the citizenship, I was pretty excited because it was kind of a good challenge to me. So yeah, I've been here for almost half my life, and in a sense, even well before I became a US citizen, I felt like I was a US citizen because I knew so much about the country and I was so ingrained into the country. It was a very natural decision for me to go for the citizenship. I racked my brains a little bit yesterday about what advice I would have for you. I will refrain from advice that is specific, like do this or do that, because there is a lot of documentation available about what you need to do to apply for your green card process. Maria has touched on some of that. There are lawyers to help you. I'll focus on 4 pieces of advice at a very high level, things that that it would be good to keep in mind, and also things that I wish I had done differently from the beginning. The first is, so first of all, these 4 pieces of advice interestingly come down to 4 acronyms or 4 letters, TEAS, remember that, T's, like tea or coffee, T's, okay, I'll come to that. T is for talk to people, get as much information in the green card process who have been through the naturalization process. Ask them their stories. Everyone's story is different. Your story will be different as well, in some way or the other. Maybe in a minor way, maybe in a major way. So it's very useful to get more information. Getting more information also includes searching on the web for testimonials, for experiences, although don't believe everything you read on the web. When required, talk to lawyers. For my green card process, I did not use a lawyer. I just went through the university office. All of my immigration steps, the F1 visa, H1 visa, green card, citizenship. Well, citizenship was different, but all of them were through my employer at that particular time. So my story is different from Maria's. So talk to people and when necessary use a lawyer. So I didn't use a lawyer for my green card, but if the need had arisen, I was ready to. I do recommend using a lawyer for your naturalization, for your citizenship application, for various reasons. In my case, I did use a lawyer for my citizenship. In fact, my lawyer is right over here. Roel is my lawyer. And that was very valuable because my citizenship application took slightly longer than usual. It was slightly over a year from when I applied until when I got the call for the interview. And for both the green card and the naturalization, the whole process is very smooth, it's very well documented, but once you submit your application, it's a black box. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. It's very hard. You can call the Department of State, or your lawyer can, but they are not required to reply to you within any time bomb. The only exception is if you go via your congressman. That's where your lawyer can really help you. So that actually happened in my case, and that was very valuable for me. So, so that's the first T. Second is E. E stands for early. Apply early. Don't be lazy. Don't put off things until later. You can always change your mind later. There are some of us who wonder, should I get a green card? Should I become a US citizen? Should I just stay with the country that I was born in? I love my original country. All this is fine. But you can always change your mind later. You cannot turn back time later and apply earlier. You can't do that. So my advice there is to apply early. The first moment that you become eligible for something, for the green card, for the US citizenship, just apply. Just go through the steps for it. Because that's very valuable. So for my green card, actually, it took me 7 years, partly because I was a bit lazy about it, and I was so wrapped up in the work and in the stressful life of being an assistant professor here for the first few years that I was here, that I completely forgot about it until someone reminded me. So that shaved a few years off of my green card, and that's one of the reasons why my green card took a bit longer than usual. The next is A. A is for aware. Be aware of what's going on with your case. Don't lose track of your case. If you have a lawyer, usually they will keep track of your case. But whether or not you have a lawyer, be aware of your case. Again, like I said before, it's a black box. It's a pretty smooth engine, but it is a black box, and there are delays. You do a lot of unforeseen circumstances, including new laws, new actions in the Congress or the Senate, new executive orders. So just keep track of what's going on with your case. In most cases, you can enter your case number on the USCIS website and see what the current status is. At the same time, don't be too obsessive about your case. These cases take time. They just take a very long time in some cases. So be patient. So it's important to be patient. Be aware, but also be patient. The last is S. S stands for surprises. It's a smooth process, it's a well-documented process, but be prepared for surprises. There will be surprises. I had a lot of surprises during my 19 years here as an immigrant. I had surprises, like I said, for my naturalization process, it got delayed a little bit, so that worried me a little bit. Eventually things worked out. I'll tell you the story for my H-1 visa. So it was, I think it's 2006 when I was on an H-1 visa here, H-1B visa, and the stamp on my passport had expired. So I thought, well, my friends have gone to Canada, and I just go there to Toronto and renew my stamp. And most of my friends have done it in overnight, 1 day, 2 days. So I go there to the consulate, I happily hand it in, and I'm in this positive frame of mind. Yeah, it's going to get done tomorrow. I'm going to fly out day after tomorrow. And the consulate officer looks at my resume. I don't know what she saw there, but she said, security clearance. Some of you may know about this. That essentially means that your case then goes to the Department of State, where it is reviewed. Maybe the FBI check is done. This may take anywhere between 5 days to 6 months. This, remember, is in the middle of the semester. I went in November, but I was teaching a class. I expected to come back in 2 days. I was there, and it was completely a black box because I didn't know what they were doing, how long the process would take. Thankfully, I had colleagues at the University of Toronto who gave me an office there so I could sit there and work. And my colleagues here at the U of I were absolutely wonderful. They took care of my class while I was gone. It took me 45 days. I came back in the middle of December, the day before my course's final exam. My TAs were wonderful. I bought them dinner. Colleagues were wonderful. Also made me fall more in love with this place because of the friendliness and the collegiality of the folks here. But it made me have more respect for the process and be aware that it can sometimes throw surprises at you. So be prepared for the worst, hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst. I think that's pretty much all that I have to say. There are a lot of details in my story which I'm not sharing here. I'm pretty happy here in Champaign-Urbana now. I have a lot of family living in the area. My mom is here visiting me from India. She comes here every year for a few months. My sister lives nearby. I go visit her and her 2 kids very often. I have a cousin and her family living nearby. So I have a lot of family living in the area. So I'm very happy here as a US citizen. I did not get to vote in the last presidential elections 2016, but I did vote in the mayoral elections. That was the first time I voted in my life. I did not have a chance to vote while I was an Indian citizen because I was never in the right place at the right time. Either I was too young to vote or I was in the US when the Indian elections were going on. So I voted in an election for the first time. That was a very proud moment for me. So I'll stop there, and if you have questions, you can ask them now, or you can come up to me later. I'll hang around for a few minutes afterwards, and I'd be happy to share more details or answer more questions if you have them.
Does anyone have any questions? Rod or Maria or Steve, they'd like to ask?
Well, can we just give a hand for our 2 testimonials again? So thank you so much for being here again. All of us are available for you to talk to and speak with, whether you're interested in more getting involved in an advocacy or volunteer position, or if you're interested in just your specific, getting more information on your specific situation. So thank you all for being here. I don't know if Laura or Craig, you have anything to add? Yeah, questions? Any questions?
Guys are also talking. Alright. Well, like you said, we'll be sticking around. I think Roa's going to stick around for a little bit too. So, but there's plenty of information, not just at your tables, but also in front when you first came in. So, take it all. I don't want to go back with anything. So feel free to.
Let me just add from that last talk, the be aware piece, there's a huge amount of information in this community. Some of it comes from right here where we're sitting in the university, some of it comes from organizations like ours. Ask a lot of questions, but be aware of the process is right. That's one of the most important things, so you don't get caught behind or failing to get followed. It's good advice.